Oh, Hi, everybody. This is Vaughn Darian, the chair of the Oakland County Democratic Party, and bringing you another one of our series of interviews with local elected officials and important people around Oakland County, trying to keep you all updated with the things that are happening and give you some of the necessary information about how we can all kind of manage this coronavirus uh, quarantine crisis together and come through it as strong as we can. So as always, if you are enjoying these videos, if you're watching these and getting anything out of it, please make sure that you're following us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and make sure that you go to ocdp.org and join our email list so that we can not only keep you updated on videos that we're doing, but other events that are happening around the community with other groups. So today we have Oakland County Treasurer Andy Meisner, who is honestly really a compelling person to talk to, always very interesting and super crazy intelligent and really knows what's going on with the county. So Andy, I always like to start off, don't worry, no pressure. I always like to ask people off the top, how are you doing? How's your family? Is everything going all right for you regarding the coronavirus?
Well, thank you, Vaughn. I'm honored to join you for this, and I appreciate the thoughtful question. Our family, like everybody's, I think, is working our way through this, adapting to new schedule, new routine. Thank God we've been healthy, and my wife is actually 7 months pregnant, and so she is a little bit uncomfortable and whatnot. But we're being extra careful about exposure, and hoping that by the time July rolls around, that things are a little bit different. But we're healthy. Our 7-year-old was a little bummed out to have his birthday party rescheduled, but he's managing to get through, and 4-year-old as well. And we're getting through it, and trying to find the silver lining. The fact that we're getting a lot more time together is one of those silver linings.
Yeah, I have 3 kids, so there's definitely a lot more family time. We did for one of my kids' friends, we did like a drive-by birthday party where we all drove by in our cars and waved and everything.
That's cool. Yeah, we did that for one of Asher's buddies, and I think it's cool. It's the resiliency of the human spirit.
Yeah, very much.
Really showing that we're going to be who we are throughout this, and find different ways to communicate and to connect and to show our love for one another. And I think the drive-by birthday party is a really cool innovation.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about how the Treasurer's Office has been adapting to the coronavirus quarantine. I know a lot of the county offices have gone straight to appointments only and come up with modified schedules and drop boxes. So tell me a little bit about when this first kind of hit, when the coronavirus first hit, what were the first steps that you had to take with the Treasurer's Office to adapt?
Yeah, well, the first thing was assessing the threat to the public, folks that come into the Treasurer's Office, as well as our fantastic team. And so one of the things I had to do early was to just close it down. And so we did shut down the office to the public pretty early, and wanted to try to isolate that threat. To make sure that nobody would be exposed coming in to pay their taxes, or like I said, any of my team. So that was the first thing, was kind of closing it down, getting everybody working remotely as soon as possible to keep the important functions of the Treasurer's Office going. And then, I think second was that we administer this property tax foreclosure process, where if somebody falls behind on their taxes, there's a 3-year process. And the second thing that I had to do was to make the determination that under the circumstances, I didn't want anybody worried about losing their home or their property during the coronavirus crisis. We really wanted to focus everybody's attention on protecting their health, protecting the health of their family, people that rely on them or that they're caregivers for. And so I made a pretty early determination that our policy in Oakland County would be that no one in the county would lose their property, their home, because of coronavirus-related circumstances. And we've been the only county in the state out of the 83 to do that. But we thought that that was the right thing, and I think it's the right thing to do. And then we can, revisit it next year. The treasurer's office will. But that was a couple of the initial things that we did to try to leave the just incredible pressure that this situation has put on families, and we're glad that we did.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I keep kind of having to come back to is the fact that this is putting a lot of stress on our systems, all the different systems that we have, and kind of forcing us to reconsider some things that we kind of taken for granted. So I think it's amazing that you were on top of it and were able to adapt the treasurer's office and try and make sure that the systems inside the treasurer's office were going to protect people and not kind of like reflexively keep causing more stress.
Yeah. And, and no one else had done it, but I've been in the job for 10 years. I came in during the foreclosure crisis and the recession. And, that's not the same thing as what we're going through now. Obviously, there wasn't the physical health element back then. But we did learn lessons from the recession and the foreclosure crisis. And I think that was helpful in putting out that policy so quickly and relieving people's concerns so that they can focus on humanitarian items like food, shelter, and staying healthy.
Yeah. So looking as we start to move from the initial phase of the crisis, where everything has been geared around kind of that first step, trying to mitigate as much harm as possible. Yeah. And as we start to move into the process where we're going to start to hopefully see different parts of the regional economy start to reopen.
Yeah.
What role do you see for the treasurer's office in kind of helping people as we move into that second phase?
A lot, a lot of different areas. One of them is for finances. Whether, you've been laid off, fired, or you're a small business that has seen your revenues screech to a grinding halt, there is a lot of financial pressure that's being put on families and businesses. And so one of the things that we have been doing since the foreclosure crisis, but that we're ramping up right now, is engaging with people in one-on-one conversations about how to help people get through this time, how to budget their stimulus check, how to look at their personal finances and figure out if there's a way to make some changes to their budget, to prioritize a bit, to work with their mortgage lender or their landlord on making sure that they keep a roof over their head. Or if it's a small business, we've spent a lot of time working with them on their budget, their finances, but also on applying for a number of the different programs, whether it's grants or loans. But this work of helping folks through this is not simple, and it's not a kind of a one-size-fits-all scenario. And so that's why I've really been a big booster of the one-on-one counseling that we offer through our office, something we call the Financial Empowerment Center. And because everyone has got different circumstances, but the fact is that everyone needs to be plotting a course to the end of the tunnel, where that light is, and where we shift gears. And yes, the world is going to be a bit different, but that brighter future is coming. And so this second phase of adapting beyond just like the shock of the initial phase is about building long-term sustainability for people's finances, for their small businesses coming out of it, and like protecting their credit.
Yeah.
We have a lot of communities in Oakland County that are redlined and denied access to credit under normal circumstances. And now in this situation, we need to be particularly vigilant that everybody, including people of color, the Black community in Oakland County, is getting the services that they need to not only protect their health, but to protect their credit and their financial well-being. And we think that that's a big deal and a need that's going to be ongoing.
Yeah. So let me ask you kind of a follow-up question off that. The financial counseling that you're doing, are you guys offering that remotely? Are you guys offering? Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. From, we've always offered it, remotely, in person. But yeah, right now we adapted very quickly to over the phone, or like we are on Zoom, if folks want to Zoom through the meeting. But yeah, and we have an amazing lead counselor named Rita Nafso, who works in our office. Her email, by the way, is nafsor@oakgov.com. Rita Nafso. Her work cell is 248-807-5287. And so, folks can always call me at 248-421-ANDY. But we'll connect them with Rita or Emily or one of our counselors. And we're all, we've all been about adapting to the need. And so like when the autos were on strike, and our UAW brothers and sisters were out there on the picket line, me and Rita and Emily and our team went out to the picket line to help the striking workers, who were going through serious reductions in their pay, getting that $250 a week.
Yeah.
And so, we helped to counsel them about how to work their way through that difficult situation. This is obviously an extremely difficult situation. And so we're doing the same thing right now.
Yeah. And I want to say, as somebody that was a longtime small business owner, one of the hardest parts of it is that when it comes to the sort of like the grant process, there's all these different programs that are available. But if you're a small business owner, for the most part, your skill set is not, applying for grants or applying for knowing about and applying for different programs. It's an entrepreneurial set that doesn't, it makes it hard sometimes.
I'm sorry, come on, go ahead.
Oh no, it's just, we're going to have to edit, I feel here. But as somebody that was a small business owner, I know that there were times where there was grant money available that we could have used for things. And I think it's crucially important if there's somebody out there that is a small business owner that's watching right now, that they should reach out and contact your office and find out.
It's a great point, Vaughn, that the skills that make somebody a successful entrepreneur, with figuring out a business model and a concept and then executing it. Like Anchor Bar, and so many others, that's a distinct talent than working through the finances and doing the paperwork. And a lot of things, we noticed a few years back that there were a lot of entrepreneurs that were getting caught up on this space. And so we added something to our Financial Empowerment Center called the Entrepreneurial Boot Camp for Finances. And so we have focused specifically on helping entrepreneurs, not with like how to do their business, because they know that, but working through the financials, how to do a pro forma. In order to get a bank loan or a credit union loan, or to get some of these grants that are available right now, you need to be able to put the paperwork together to document your finances. And so over the last several weeks, what our team has been focused on a ton is working with small businesses and kind of walking hand in hand with them through the application process. We've helped dozens and dozens of businesses apply for the Small Business Stabilization Program through Oakland County. And we've helped a ton of businesses apply for some of the grants and loans that are available through the Small Business Administration, or the SBA as they call it, because both of those loan processes and grant processes, the applications are a little bit daunting. And so I know that Rita has been on the phone with dozens of folks helping them through that process. But unless we do that, we're not truly democratizing those resources. And that's part of the reason why you saw Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, Harvard, and some of these other organizations get relief through the first round of the Paycheck Protection Program, when there's way more mom and pops around the country and around right here in Oakland County that need those resources and really should be the ones getting them. We need to make sure that those programs are supporting Main Street, not Wall Street.
Yeah, I wind up, especially, and again, as somebody that was a small business owner for a long time, it's times like these where I really do feel that you can see a stark difference between, the Republican philosophy where they set up these programs to help small business, and the way that as Democrats, we really do work to make sure that these are going to help actual small business. I mean, if you're a multi-state conglomerate that has 200 franchises, yeah, you might technically qualify as a small business, but you really are the sort of organization that has access to large amounts of capital, where, there are so many restaurants right now that are struggling. And I mean, obviously that's my background. That's where I come from, but it's not just restaurants. Think about the local dry cleaner that isn't able to operate right now.
Yeah.
These are rough times. And, or as honestly, this is one of the things that we got the most messages about: pet grooming, that everybody's been, I have 3 dogs, and one of my dogs is a little Shih Tzu puppy, and he's really overgrown, and there's nothing we can do about it. And it's kind of crazy frustrating. So having the office of the treasurer there to sort of like make sure that you're helping walk people through this crisis, and hopefully the Financial Empowerment Center will be a resource that people look to as we start to come out of this and have to get all these businesses going again.
Yeah, we found that there were some micro loans, which is like a $5,000 to $50,000 loan that were offered through Oakland County, before the crisis, and they were surprisingly underutilized. And there was one. I think there were only 2 applications from the city of Pontiac in the last year. Maybe it was 2018. But what we found was that there was a real kind of a break in the continuum. And that, just by getting on the horn or meeting face to face with people, and, being a empathetic ear, and then just giving them, this is what they're looking for when they ask for this, it can be a real difference maker. And getting a loan or grant right now, or not getting one, a lot of times is going to be the difference between the business surviving or not. And when you think about the fact that small business is the engine that drives the Oakland County economy, and that Oakland County is the engine that drives the Michigan economy, it's really critical. And, the resources that have been available thus far are a step in the right direction. But unfortunately, they're only a drop in the bucket of what the need is. And so, with the federal program, I'm really grateful that Speaker Pelosi and our excellent congressional delegation, Senator Peters and Stabenow on the Senate side, and great leaders in the House side, like Haley Stevens, Alyssa Slotkin, Dan Kildee, Andy Levin, Rashida. A lot of these folks are stepping in so that the next round of the Paycheck Protection is going to reflect more of our values of inclusion, and instead of just making rich people richer, actually pointing the help in the direction that it's needed.
Yeah, I always like to refer to it as like the money bazooka, that the Republicans do love to load up the money bazooka and just launch giant wads of cash at the top 10th of 1%. And, it really does make a huge difference. And again, I know I'm beating this dead horse a lot, but I spent a long time as a small business owner, and it really does make you feel a lot of these programs that are there to help people.
Yeah.
Your instinct as a business owner is not, when you get in a crisis, the first thing you think isn't, I'm going to reach out to the Oakland County Treasurer's office and ask them for help. It's really, you get this very sort of like tunnel vision mindset where you start thinking about just what's inside your control as a business owner, and people don't realize how many programs are out there to help them.
Yeah, and that's why we do a lot of proactive outreach. We partner with the Chambers of Commerce and DDAs. We partner with a lot of different organizations, local cities, villages, and townships. We collaborate with them to help get the message out because, it's a general thing in government that so much of what we do is just connecting people with resources that they may not know that are there, or that they just can't access. And so we've been getting the word out a lot about that. And we want to continue to get the word out. There were about 7,300 people that applied for the county small business grant program. Maybe 10% or less will actually get grants. And so we want to make sure that the folks that don't get that or that didn't get PPP are aware of other resources and are not forgotten. If I could just real quickly mention two other programs through the SBA. One of them is the Disaster Relief Loan Program, where businesses can apply for a loan to help them get through this difficult time. It's 3.75%, and it's available right now. Talked about the Paycheck Protection Program, which is being funded again. Hopefully with that bazooka that you talked about is going to be a little more focused on mom and pops, a little more focused on Main Street than Wall Street. And then the third one, and I don't know if you guys had ever gotten into the SBA lending through your business, but the Small Business Administration offers a number of loan programs like the 504 loan. And over the last 10 years as treasurer, I've been on the board for the Business Finance Corporation in Oakland County that partners with credit unions and banks and small businesses to get these loans out. And the third program I wanted to mention is called the SBA Debt Relief Program. This is only available for folks that right now have an SBA loan. But if you do have one of those 504s or 7As, the Debt Relief Program will pay your note on that loan for 6 months.
Wow.
So not only are they giving you 6 months of forbearance, they're paying that note for you for 6 months. And so that's reducing the amount of debt that you have. Because with how severe this financial crisis is, and we haven't even seen, I think, the full ripple effect, so many of these folks and these businesses, they're just not going to be able to pay loans back. And so the fact that they're forgiving it for 6 months, I think it's a big deal. And it's going to help lower their debt burden as we turn the corner on this thing, which hopefully we're beginning to do right now.
Yeah, I hope so. And I will say it's going to be so important over the next, let's figure 12 to 18 months that these small businesses are able to access capital and get liquidity as they're trying to sort of like restart. And it's going to be hard to hire people, to rebuild the workforce. It's going to be challenging. So let me ask you, as we're talking about this, let's talk specifically about the next, say, 3 to 6 months. What's the biggest challenge that you're worried about coming down the line, maybe in the next 3 to 6 months for the treasurer's office? What's the thing that you're starting to worry about hitting in the medium term time frame?
Well, I mean, first and foremost is still health. I'm very concerned about the curve, as they say. I'm very concerned about the possibility of us kind of, easing up a little bit and then seeing a resurgence of cases. And so first and foremost is health and safety. The next thing that I'm concerned about, Vaughn, is that in a couple of months, the summer tax bill is going to go out for people. And then there's a December tax bill in the winter. And I'm very concerned about people's ability to pay their property taxes. And so I'm working right now to try to short circuit another foreclosure crisis like we had 10 years ago. But I want to make sure that people are aware that if they went to the Board of Review in March to try to challenge their assessment, they can go to the Michigan Tax Tribunal. Or if they're a commercial or industrial property, they can go to the July or December Board of Review. But I think that there's going to be something that we need to do to deal with the property taxes out there. I've dealt with the delinquent property taxes by suspending foreclosure for most properties in Oakland County, anybody affected by it. But what's really on my radar is people's ability to pay their property taxes. If they don't pay, it gets turned over to the county treasurer as delinquent and starts this whole cycle that we really want to avoid. So that's one. And then second is the small business's ability to get through this. If you've been closed down as a business, or take restaurants for a second. Restaurants can try to get by on curbside pickup and everything, but that's not where, a lot of the profit margin is. And this system right now is, doesn't allow them to optimize profits. And so the second area of vital concern is connecting people with counseling, resources, and money to jumpstart their small business, or as opportunity comes up out of this, to see folks start a new business or to pivot their business model. The woman that owns Detroit Sewn was a part of a women-owned business town hall that we did last week. And, she says that she's pivoting her business model to focus on personal protective equipment because she thinks that it's going to be something that's necessary going forward.
Yeah.
And so this creates opportunity, and I want to make sure that those entrepreneurs out there are not too discouraged by the current situation. But knowing the entrepreneurial spirit as I do, I'm confident that it will forge on, and that we've got a bit of a game plan from previous crises that we can use to guide us.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that this kind of leads into my next question, which is I always like to try and wind down and give people an opportunity to tell some stories that are about the good things that they've seen happening. And, talking about people's entrepreneurial spirit. Yeah. It's been fun and interesting to watch businesses adapt. But tell me if there's something that you've seen from your end that's kind of giving you the bright side or some kind of a little bit of a glimmer of light as we're all struggling with this.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. And, Oakland County has had a very vibrant and growing Asian American community. And I've been really proud to, partner with the community and get to know so many of the amazing facets of it. And, when President Trump came out and called this a Chinese virus, it incited a great amount of discrimination, hatred, and lashing out, targeting Asian Americans very unfairly. And one of the things that's been so inspiring is the response that I've seen from my friends in the community who have been so patriotic. I've had no less than 4 or 5 different friends representing different Asian organizations reach out to me and say, Andy, we have personal protective equipment. Where is the need in Oakland County? Where can we get these resources? And so whether it's the Michigan Chinese American Coalition, D-Asian Media, or the Association of Chinese Americans, any number of one of these groups, I have seen through their actions not only selflessness and patriotism, but I think really taking the high road in setting aside these awful attacks that we've seen. And that's something that I just think is really another inspiration that shows some of the good sides of what happens and how we deal with adversity and crisis.
Yeah, I really do think that the human spirit is a wonderful, and obviously that's cliche, but the human spirit is amazing, and it's been phenomenal to watch people find ways to come together and reach out to each other so that we are creating community even as we're socially distant.
Yeah.
So I want to wind things down, and I want to say thank you very much to Oakland County Treasurer Andy Meisner. Honestly, a very good interview. And I, as somebody that loves to find out about what's being done for small business, this was fantastic. If you watched all the way till the end, thank you. And please make sure that you are following us on Facebook. You can follow our Twitter account. You can subscribe to our mailing list at ocdp.org. And if you're enjoying the content, or if any of this has been valuable to you, if you're a small business owner that's going to get some information out of this, please consider throwing us a little bit of money. Every one of these Facebook ads that we're doing costs a couple dollars here or there, and it all adds up. So if you can give us even, $10, $5, it makes a difference. It's helping us reach thousands of people and getting them information that they need as we're all trying to work together through this crisis. So again, thank you very much. Thank you to Andy Meisner.
Thank you, Vaughn. Anybody that needs help, please call me or text me at 248-421-ANDY, and we'll connect you with the resources that are available. But I encourage you to support OCDP. They're doing great work. They're helping us mobilize for what will be the most important election in our life. And so please be generous in supporting our county party.
And last note, if you're watching this, and God, you've been watching this all the way till the end, but if you're thinking about being a precinct delegate, reach out to us. Precinct delegates are crucially important as we're getting ready to mobilize for the fall elections. The deadline to file is May 5th. So if you're interested in being a precinct delegate, reach out to us, again, on Facebook or at ocdp.org. Thank you very much for watching, and please stay home, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.